Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a little different.
Hmm.
Usually we're looking at tech trends or maybe a historical mystery or, breaking down some complex economic theory.
We do get into the weeds sometime.
We do. But today we are looking right into the mirror, or more accurately, we're looking into the black mirror of our phones.
It is a heavy one today. We are staring into the abyss of modern romance.
The abyss is a good word for it.
And I don't mean that in a poetic love is a mystery kind of way.
No, absolutely not. I mean, in a why does it feel like everyone is screaming at each other kind of way. I
Yeah,
was talking to your friend the other day, someone who is smart, funny, has a great job, and she told me she deleted all the apps, just wiped them.
I hear that all the time.
She said, it doesn't feel like I'm looking for a partner anymore. It feels like I'm walking through a minefield.
That is a sentiment we are seeing everywhere in the research. And frankly, your friend isn't wrong. It is a minefield.
It feels fraud. It feels exhausting. And honestly, it feels a lot more hostile than it used to be.
For sure.
You go on the apps, you go on dates, and it doesn't just feel like, oh, I haven't met the right person yet. It feels like one wrong step blows the whole thing up. It's not just ghosting or bad etiquette anymore. It feels like there is a genuine anger bubbling under the surface of every swipe.
That isn't just your imagination. That feeling of hostility is backed up by mountains of data.
Okay, so this is real.
It's very real. We aren't just talking about bad dates or people being rude. We are analyzing a massive structural shift where gender conflict has moved beyond simple differences of opinion.
Okay, a structural shift.
It has created a fundamental disconnect in how men and women view relationships and even, reality itself.
That is the core premise we are unpacking today. We have a stack of articles, research notes, and data points from the US, alongside a really fascinating and frankly kind of terrifying case study from South Korea.
A cautionary tale, you could say.
Totally. The headline here isn't top 10 dating tips, it's the great disconnect. We're trying to figure out why marriage is transforming from a standard life milestone into something optional, or for some people, something to be actively avoided.
And the why is complex. It involves political polarization. It involves algorithmic segregation, which is a huge factor we'll get into. And it creates this vicious cycle of resentment. It's a perfect storm.
So our mission today is to understand this shift. Why are we seeing this hardening, this calcification between the genders, and what does it mean for the future of, well, us?
If we do our job right today, you're going to understand the happiness gap. You're going to learn about the 4B movement, which is a term that defines this new reality in a very stark way.
Okay.
And hopefully you'll see the connection between what happens in the voting booth, what happens on your TikTok feed, and why you can't get a second date.
I love that. Connecting the dots between the ballot box and the bedroom. Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with the thing that hits you right in the face when you open a dating app. The bio.
The bio. The new resume.
Exactly. And specifically, the politicization of the bio. You know what I'm talking about. Swipe left if you voted for X. No Republicans, no Democrats.
It's unavoidable.
It used to be that politics was something you politely avoided on a first date, right? Like, you talk about movies, you talk about food, maybe your siblings. You don't bring up tax policy before the appetizers arrive.
All right. The old etiquette was that politics was dinner table talk, something private. But that era is effectively over. We have entered the era of ideological vetting.
Ideological vetting, that sounds incredibly clinical for romance.
It does.
Like we're hiring for a security firm, not looking for love.
It is clinical, but it's accurate. Politics is no longer just a set of opinions about how the government should spend money. For the younger generation, specifically Gen Z and millennials, politics has become the primary filter for romance. It is the new deal breaker.
And we have numbers on this, right? This isn't just, a vibe we're picking up on.
We do. And the data reveals a really startling gender divide. The source material highlights a statistic regarding Gen Z women in the U.S.
Okay.
Approximately 43% of them say they would refuse to date someone who voted for the opposing party.
43%. Wow. So almost half of Gen Z women are saying, if you tick that other box, do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Precisely. It's a non-starter. But here is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
When you look at Gen Z men, that rate is only 21%.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. That is a massive gap. Let me get this straight. 43% of women versus 21% of men.
That's right.
So men are essentially twice as willing to date across the aisle than women are?
Correct. And we have to ask why. Why does this gap exist? Is it just that men are more open-minded? Or there's something deeper at play?
I'm guessing it's something deeper.
The source material describes this phenomenon as asymmetric rejection.
Asymmetric rejection. Okay, break that down for me. What does that mean?
It comes down to how different genders perceive the stakes of politics. For many men, not all, but statistically speaking, political differences are often viewed as mere disagreements.
Oh, to like debate.
Exactly. They are theoretical debates. You might disagree on fiscal policy or foreign aid or zoning laws. To the male perspective in this data set, those are things you can debate over a beer. They don't necessarily define your character or your morality.
Right. It's like rooting for different sports teams. I like the Yankees, you like the Red Sox, but we can still make this work. We can bicker about it, maybe tease each other, but at the end of the day, we can still go home together. It's not a moral failing to like the Red Sox. Usually, yeah.
But for women, the data suggests the calculation is completely different.
How so?
Political leanings, specifically regarding reproductive rights, abortion access, and LGBTQ+ rights, are not viewed as theoretical policy debates.
No, I can see that.
They're viewed as core values. They're viewed as non-negotiable conditions regarding their own safety and autonomy.
That makes total sense when you put it that way. If I'm a woman and I'm looking at a potential partner, and that partner supports policies that I feel threaten my bodily autonomy, my actual right to make decisions about my own body, that's not a disagreement.
No.
That's a threat.
Precisely. It ceases to be politics in the abstract and becomes survival or identity in the concrete. If a woman feels that a man's political vote actively works against her fundamental rights, she cannot view him as a romantic protector or partner.
How could she?
She views him as an adversary. So the rejection is asymmetric because the stakes are asymmetric.
So men are swiping and thinking, she's cute, we can agree to disagree on the election. And women are swiping and thinking, this person's worldview is dangerous to me.
That's the disconnect in a nutshell. And that is why we see the rise of the party filter on dating apps. The technology has adapted to this reality.
Oh, totally. The apps are built for this now.
Users are preemptively excluding matches based on political affiliation to avoid wasting time.
Which, from an efficiency standpoint, I get. I really do. Why go out for coffee if you're going to hate each other's guts in 10 minutes?
Why get dressed up? Why spend the money?
Why waste the outfit? Why waste the Saturday night?
But it really changes the nature of dating, doesn't it? It's no longer opposites attract.
No. It is no longer about the friction of difference creating a spark. It is about ideological safety. We are curating our romantic lives the same way we curate our social media feeds.
We want an echo chamber.
We want an echo chamber in our bedroom.
That is a heavy thought, an echo chamber in the bedroom. But okay, let's zoom out a bit. We've established that getting into a relationship is harder because of this political filter.
Right. The first gate is much narrower now.
But what about the desire for a relationship? Because the source material suggests that even the end goal, marriage, the family, is crumbling.
It is. And this brings us to the second major section of our deep dive, the happiness gap and the erosion of marriage.
The happiness gap. This sounds like it could be the title of a depressing self-help book. What is it? It refers to the diverging paths of fulfillment for men and women. We are seeing a transition from how people date to what they actually want out of life.
Yeah.
The traditional model, you meet, you date, you marry, you have kids, is collapsing. But it is not collapsing evenly for everyone.
Okay, lay the stats on me. Who is opting out?
Women. Women are increasingly preferring singlehood.
Preferring it, not just dealing with it or settling for it.
No, preferring it. The data points here are fascinating. Only 32% of women believe that getting married and having children leads to a happier life.
Wait, only 32%?
Just under a third.
That seems incredibly low. We grow up with all these fairy tales, the Disney movies, the rom-coms. The happy ending is always the wedding, the Prince Charming. And you're telling me 2/3 of women are looking at that and saying, I don't think so.
That is exactly what they're saying. Women are moving away from the notion that marriage and childcare are the primary paths to fulfillment.
So where are they finding it?
They are finding satisfaction in their careers, their friendships, their hobbies, and their independence. They have realized that the traditional deal, where they do the bulk of the domestic labor and emotional labor, might not actually be a good deal for them.
It's the second shift, right? You work 9 to 5, then you come home and work 5 to 10 doing house stuff, child rearing, planning.
Exactly. And now that women have economic independence, they have careers, they have their own money, they don't need marriage for survival anymore.
Okay, that's a key point.
So they are evaluating it strictly on happiness terms. And for many, the math just doesn't add up. The juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore.
In many cases, no. But here is the contrast. Let's look at the male perspective, because the men are not on the same page.
Let me guess. It's different.
Oh, it's very different. A majority of men, 58%, still hold a positive view of marriage.
58%. Okay, so that's a big majority.
And 57% of single men view starting a family as a vital life goal. Compare that to only 45% of single women.
So we have a supply and demand issue.
A massive one. It's a chasm. You have a demographic of men who still want the traditional family structure. They want the wife, the kids, the white picket fence. That is their vision of a successful life.
The American dream, basically.
Right. And you have a demographic of women who are increasingly opting out of that structure because they don't see it as a path to happiness for them.
This feels like a recipe for disaster, or at least a recipe for a lot of lonely, frustrated people.
It creates a phenomenon known as male deprivation. And we need to talk about the emotional fallout of this.
Male deprivation. That sounds intense.
It is. Think about the traditional role of masculinity. For generations, being a man meant being a provider. You get a job, you get a wife, you provide for the family. That was the script. Your status in society was tied to that role.
It was your identity.
But now we have economic instability, making it harder to be that sole provider.
Right. Wages are stagnant. Housing is expensive. It's hard to support a family on one income. So the economic bar is higher.
Much higher. And simultaneously, women are refusing the traditional arrangement. So men are failing the script on two fronts. They can't afford to be the sole provider, and even if they could, women aren't necessarily buying what they're selling.
So the goalposts have moved, and the game has changed.
Game has totally changed.
Exactly. Men feel their life goals are being frustrated. They feel blocked. And the source material notes that this often leads to a blame game.
Who do they blame? They can't blame the economy. That's too abstract.
Well, they could, but they don't. Instead of adapting to this new reality or redefining what masculinity means to them, many men project this disappointment onto feminism. They blame the women for changing the rules.
You ruined the deal. You're supposed to want this.
Right. And this fuels a deep sense of resentment. It sets the stage for the hostility we see online. It's not just, I'm sad, I'm single. It's, I am angry because I feel I have been denied something that was promised to me.
That entitlement is scary. A promise to me. Like, a wife is a participation trophy for adulthood.
That is the subtext of a lot of the anger. And this brings us to the technological accelerant of this fire. We have to talk about where people are getting these ideas, because they aren't just coming up with them in a vacuum.
You're talking about the algorithms.
I am. Section 3, digital segregation and the death of dialogue.
This is the part that freaks me out the most. Because I see it on my own phone, I open TikTok, and my feed is very specific. And I know for a fact that if I open my neighbor's phone, it would look like a completely different planet.
We are living in separate information ecosystems.
Yeah.
It's digital segregation.
It's like we're all in our own little Truman Show.
That's a great way to put it. So how does this play out for men and women specifically?
I have a feeling it's not good.
The algorithms are designed to maximize engagement. And what drives engagement? Emotion. Specifically, outrage and validation.
Right.
They feed you content that reinforces your biases and keeps you watching. For young men, platforms like TikTok often supply what we call manosphere content.
The Andrew Tate stuff, the red pill.
Andrew Tate is the most visible figure, but there is a whole ecosystem. It's the red pill community, as you said. It's content that frames men as victims of reverse discrimination.
The narrative is that men are the oppressed ones now.
Exactly. It tells them you are losing because women have too much power. You are losing because society is rigged against men. You are losing because women are hypergamous gold diggers.
Hypergamous, that means marrying up, right?
Yeah.
Financially or socially?
Right. The narrative is that women only want the top 1% of men, the tallest, richest, most handsome guys. So for the average guy scrolling, the message is, you don't have a chance unless you get rich and jacked.
And that must be incredibly demoralizing.
It creates hopelessness and hostility simultaneously. It validates that resentment we just talked about.
It gives them a target for their anger.
Yes. And what are women seeing? Because I doubt they're seeing Andrew Tate.
My feed is definitely not that.
The algorithm provides women with content focused on feminism, female empowerment, and crucially alerts regarding male-perpetrated violence.
Right. The bear versus man debate. That was everywhere recently. Would you rather be stuck in the woods with a bear or a man? And most women chose the bear.
Exactly. Or stories about women being stalked, or love bombing, or narcissists. It's safety talk.
Safety talk. I like that.
So think about the narratives being built. Men are consuming a reality where they're the victims and women are the oppressors.
And women are consuming a reality where men are a potential threat to their physical safety.
One side is being fed grievance, the other side is being fed vigilance.
Precisely. And then these two people are supposed to meet at a bar and have a nice drink.
That is the death of dialogue. Because both sides are consuming fundamentally different realities, mutual understanding becomes nearly impossible.
It's like they're speaking different languages.
No, it's worse. They're viewing each other through a lens of hostility before they even say hello. Real-world encounters are tainted by these digital narratives before they even happen.
That is so scary. It means the algorithm is essentially sabotaging the date before the first drink is ordered.
It really is.
You're sitting across from someone, but you're not seeing them. You're seeing the caricature your phone built for you. The man is sitting there thinking, is she going to use me for a free meal? Is she a feminist who hates me? And the woman is sitting there thinking, is he a narcissist? Is he dangerous? What are his views on everything?
Correct. And when you enter a social interaction with that level of defensiveness and suspicion, the chances of a genuine connection, of vulnerability, of love are almost zero.
So we have political polarization making us filter each other out. We have a happiness gap where women are opting out because the deal sucks. We have algorithms driving us into hostile silos. It feels like we were watching a car crash in slow motion.
If you want to see what happens when the car actually crashes, we have to look at our case study.
Right.
We have to look at South Korea.
Yes. The notes on this were mind-blowing. I knew South Korea had low birth rates. I think the lowest in the world.
The lowest in the world by a significant margin. It's cratering.
But I didn't realize the gender war there was this intense. It seems like a glimpse into our future if we don't change course.
South Korea is serving as a real-world laboratory for these trends. It is an extreme example, a magnification of what we are seeing in the West.
So what is happening there? What makes it so extreme?
It starts with the marriage squeeze.
Yeah.
This is a demographic term.
Yeah.
Essentially, there is a structural surplus of men over women.
How did that happen?
Because of sex-selective practices in the past, there are simply more young men than young women in the population.
So too many men, not enough women, basic math.
Right. And the men who are aware of this squeeze, who feel that competition, are reacting aggressively.
How so?
Instead of trying to be more appealing partners, they are more likely to oppose women's empowerment policies. They exhibit hostile, sexist attitudes because they feel they are losing out structurally. They feel the deck is stacked against them.
So they lash out. It's that male deprivation anger again, but amplified by the actual population numbers.
They lash out. But here is the crucial reaction. How do women respond to that lashing out?
I'm guessing they don't say, oh, poor guys, let me comfort you.
Quite the opposite. This hostility makes marriage and dating even less attractive to women. South Korean women are highly educated, they work hard, and they look at these angry men who demand traditional subservience, and they say, absolutely not.
I'm not signing up for that.
No, thank you. And this is culminated in the 4B movement.
The 4B movement, I've seen this mentioned online. Can you define it explicitly for us? What are the 4Bs?
Which comes from 4 Korean words that all start with bai, which means no. It is a pledge. Are you ready?
Right.
1, no marriage.
Okay.
2, no childbirth.
Right.
3, no dating.
Wow.
And 4, no sex with men.
Wow. That is thorough. That is not just, I'm taking a break from dating. That is a boycott, a full-on strike.
It is a total female exit from the dating market. It is a political stance. It is saying, I refuse to participate in a system that I view as oppressive and hostile. I will not give my body, my time, or my labor to men.
And this creates a vicious cycle, doesn't it?
A negative feedback loop. Let's map it out.
Okay.
Step 1. Men feel squeezed and lash out the backlash. They get angry online. They vote for anti-feminist politicians. Step 2. Women see this hostility and recoil further. The exit, or 4B. They say, see, this is why we're doing this.
It confirms their decision.
Step 3. The exit makes men even more hostile because now they're being rejected entirely. Their worst fears are coming true. The system they thought they'd participate in is closed to them.
And so they get even angrier.
Step 4. The hostility increases, confirming the women's decision to stay away.
It's a spiral, and it goes all the way down.
And it is intertwined with a severe demographic crisis.
Yeah.
South Korea is facing a population collapse. Schools are closing because there are no kids. The economy is threatened. And this gender war is a huge driver of that.
It's like a standoff. Neither side is blinking.
Exactly. And this brings us to our synthesis. What does this all mean when we put the pieces together? The political vetting, the happiness gap, the algorithms, this extreme case study.
The outline calls it the calcification of gender relations.
Calcification, hardening, turning into stone. That is what is happening. We are seeing a global state of calcification.
What are the two sides of that hardened stance?
Men fear the loss of their traditional patriarchal status. Women refuse to be integrated into that patriarchal order.
It feels like an impasse, a total stalemate.
It is. Dating and marriage are being redefined.
Yeah.
They're no longer viewed primarily as romantic unions.
What are they viewed as?
For many, they are now ideological battlegrounds where you have to fight for your values, your rights, your identity every single day.
That sounds exhausting.
Or they are systems to be avoided for survival, where you opt out to protect your peace and your autonomy. It's a defensive measure.
That is profound and heartbreaking. If dating is a battlefield or a survival situation, where is the love? Where is the partnership, the fun, the joy?
That is the question. And this is why it matters, even if you are listening to this and you've been happily married for 20 years. This isn't just about single people.
No.
This affects social cohesion. It affects birth rates, which affect the economy. It affects the general happiness of society.
It represents a total breakdown in how the two halves of the population relate to one another. If men and women can't talk to each other, can't trust each other, can't build lives together, what do we have left?
We have a fragmented society. We have a society of isolated individuals living in digital silos, nursing resentments. It's a recipe for a very unhappy future.
Okay, let's take a breath. That is a lot to process.
It is. It's not a light topic.
Not at all. We've gone from political filters on apps to the happiness gap to the algorithmic silos and finally to the extreme standoff of the 4B movement.
It's a journey. And I want to reiterate, this is a structural issue. This is not just men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
No, it's way beyond that.
This is not just about bad communication. This is about divergent values, economic shifts, and technology driving a wedge between us.
So we usually end with a takeaway or a question, and I have one that's been nagging me this whole deep dive.
Go for it.
If dating has become a system to be avoided for survival for one side and a source of deep resentment for the other, is the traditional model of marriage salvageable at all? Or are we witnessing the birth of an entirely new social contract?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Are we in a transition period where we, figure out a new way to be together?
Yeah.
A way that is equitable and happy for everyone?
Or is this it?
Or is this the new normal? Division and distance? I don't know the answer.
Something to mull over. Maybe don't bring it up on your first date tonight, though.
No, probably not.
Hey, do you think we're witnessing the collapse of the social contract? Might not be the best opener.
Probably not. Stick to the appetizers first. Check the vibes.
Check the vibes. And maybe check the bio one more time.
Always check the bio.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
Stay curious.